All right, well, today on Mr. Brian's Amazing World, we're up to fixing the backhoe. And basically, disaster happened and managed to hit a rock with the tire again. And God, I haven't done anything other than put plugs in them. And I guess the plugs are probably underneath this part. I'll show you later when I get this off there. It's a good slice about that long. And it's finally time to have to pull this apart. Now, problem I have here is these bolts haven't been taken off in, I don't know, 20 years. So I have to heat these suckers up. I managed to get 2 of them off, and basically what I'm using is this bad boy. Basically an oxyacetylene torch to heat these up enough to be able to get them off, because this stuff is really bright. Hit that. Want a nice flame. When you do this, you want to turn this one all the way up. Turn the acetylene to what you need, and adjust your oxygen based upon where you want your flame. You want to be able to see, you want it to look just like that pretty much. And that's super, super hot right at the tips of those blues. And you just put it on there. I can move that in there. And just work it around a little bit. You can heat it up. You don't want to stay in one spot or it will start to burn the metal. You can see right there that's heating up, and you can see it'll deform the metal a little bit. You want to make sure you don't do that too much or your nuts won't be right. Just keep working it. It's a little while. You pretty much want to get this whole thing glowing pretty red. This way it breaks all the rust free and you'll be able to actually turn it. So what I'm going to try to show you how to do, once I get these stupid things off there, hopefully I can change this tire by hand. I don't know, I've never tried changing a backhoe tire by hand. Maybe I can do it, maybe I can't. The only thing holding me up right now is I need a new valve stem because that one leaks. It's kind of another reason I've been waiting to take this tire off. Now, there you go, you can see a lot of it. Let's give it a shot and see if that's enough. You can see the heat. Put this on there. I gotta be quick with this. You want to keep as much heat as possible while you're doing this. And your wrench is cooling it down at the same time. It's gonna make a big noise if it goes. There we go. Oh, it sounds like you're breaking your breaker bar. But what it is, you're actually getting that nut off there. Oh my God, so we got them. All 5 are off. Well, there's 2 on there, but they're broken free. Trick, I left this sitting on the ground because the weight of this machine will pinch this and not allow the wheel to rotate. And now that I have that off, I got this perfect little trick. Put it in 4-wheel drive, and that'll lock the axle for me. It should be a piece of cake. Change this tire. I guess that's probably a little higher than I wanted. Needed it to. Right here. It must have blown all the plugs out of it. I had about 6 together. Kind of like what we do with the 4-wheelers. Somebody hit a railroad tie or something with them, and you'd end up putting a whole bunch of plugs in to make it work. Bet you this rim's hot. I don't want to touch it. Not so. Oh yeah. That's pretty hot everywhere. Woo! There she is. All right. Now we got to try to change this tire. So let's give it a whirl. I've never changed a backhoe tire. The biggest one I ever did was dirt bike tires, 4-wheeler tires. But a tire's a tire, and I don't know. Let's see what we can do. However, when you change a tire, you'll notice there's this groove in here that sits a little bit in. You want to be able to push this edge down into that groove, start where the valve stem is, and pull it up over that. If you can do that, that's the trick. That's the whole trick. So this tire's super dirty, of course, because we got blew the tire and had to come through mud to get back here, and didn't want to change it anywhere else. So I'll try to scrape some of that off so it helps to get around that. I'm going to wash all this, but what I'll do is I'll oil this up a little bit. Well, WD-40 will work just fine in there for now. Don't really want to use that when you reset the bead because it can eat into the rubber and make the stuff not sit right. But once we get it cleaned, we'll use soap and water, and that should be good enough. But if we put a decent amount, a couple sprays, I use a Clorox bottle because I get the stuff by the gallon because we go through so much of it around here. Everything always needs WD-40, and well, you'll just waste your money buying cans, that's for sure. So covered up enough that it'll slide. Every little bit of lube always helps. All right, now like I said, we want to start here. We'll drop this down. But we're going to start where this valve stem is, but I'm going to stand on this. And already you can almost see, I'll show you here what we're talking about. You can see the way this goes in here. This is the key to getting a tire off, is to get this bead in this groove. That gives you the extra stretch you need to get that side over this. Now, if you go the other way and you do it with the valve stem on the bottom, you're going to be hung up on that valve stem, and it's really hard to fight that. So you want to start with this side in and then peel the valve stem side over first. All right, now, I don't know if this is going to work. I have the wrong tools for this. I was looking for my other good screwdriver that I have. It's a big, like, pry bar. Couldn't find it, but this should work. I mean, I got some monster crowbars here, but we'll see what happens. We'll dig this side in. All right, so far, so good. That kind of popped right up. I almost want to bring you around to show you this. Let's see, if I put this one in here, after I pull that, oh, I just missed it. Let me try this again here. If I get that up to there, I'll step on this. I'm trying to be able to do this so you can see what I'm doing. It's making it a little trickier. And then if I stand on this, pull that. All right, right there. That's it. It did it. Just like that. We got this main bead over. As soon as I pull this a little more, shouldn't take much now. Kind of fighting it a little bit, but it's right there. So we'll dig this again down in where we can find a spot, just like that, and pull, and you'll see the whole tire come off, just like that. Or I'll go flying one or the other. All right, let me try this with 2 hands. You know, maybe I won't fall over this time. That's kind of funny. You'll learn. Take some practice. Whew. Maybe that's it right there. Look at that. Bing! So that took 2 seconds and one little fly throw, and I'm in. Pretty easy, actually. Can't believe I was going to bother going all the way down to a place that can handle big tires. Because so far, so good. If you can get it off, you can get it back on. Just like that, we got that side off. All right, now, the other side might not be so easy. As long as you break the bead. The bead can be a real tough one to break. Now, you can see this groove I'm talking about, and by keeping that in there, that's the way it works. So, to get this next part off, again, and here's the valve stem. I don't know if you can see this. Let me move this in. This is the valve stem that I was talking about. So if you're hanging up trying to push that over at the very edge, it's going to stick on that. So you definitely want to start the way I started it to get it off there. From here, oh, I don't know. Let's see if we can get up in there and pry this side off while keeping this bead in that groove. Kind of just like that. Not much holding it on there at that point. Well, there's that. And 4-wheeler tires are awesome. You can just stand on them and it'll pull right off like this. I don't know if this will. Get off of there. Just like that. Kidding me? What a joke. Backhoe tire. Changed my hand. That'll make you feel like a man. You just pry these tires right off. Wow, that was cool. So, if you look in here, you can see all this slime. Just been trying to patch these tires for quite a while. And here is a plug. This one actually worked very well. It has a good bulb inside there. And you can see the outside, there's not too much sticking out of that. Now, where was that other spot? Right here is where it cut through. Let's see what that looks like in there. Where's that cut? Here. Let's see if we can see any light there. It's actually right here, and you can't tell too much of what that's doing. But hey, the tire's off. That's awesome. That went a lot easier than I thought. I mean, we're 6 minutes in and I got the tire off the rim. Cool. How much is that worth trying to get that done? I mean, it's probably $100 to get a tire change these days. I did it in 6 minutes, at least half of it. And it's not like you have to get these balanced, so sort of getting a I'm going to take and clean this whole thing up because we need to get all this dirt off there so the bead will seat correctly. I'll clean this whole rim, and I will try to get a new valve stem. I really need a new valve stem for this because it leaks so bad. I don't know, maybe I can just pull the insert out of that and put another one in and hopefully have that seal. We'll try. Because let me grab the little tool and I'll show you how to do that too. Because you're going to want to be able to fill the tire up by taking that insert out of there. The valve stem, or the core, we'll call it. The core. Cool. Well, let me get a tire and clean this up and take it from there. All right, we're back at it. Finally getting around to fixing this backhoe. So one of the first things we have to do now is we need to take out the valve core, and basically this little guy is what the valve core is. You put the air in there and it stops it from coming back out. I have another one of these because this one isn't that great. If I had access to more of these fancy metal valve stems, I'd probably change that, but at the moment I think I can get away with just the core. I really hope so. We'll see. So what I'm using to do this is this little tool here, and it's got a groove in the middle of it. Comes with stuff to fill it flat, and you just keep unscrewing it. Actually, now that I have that out, it's taking a lot of pressure. I want to use a pair of pliers on it because I have it out right to the point. Let me grab those quick. And now that I have my needle nose, I can finish getting this. It's right to the end, and I don't want to break that little plastic tool that I have. Of course, I have a metal one somewhere, and you can never find the good one when you need it, but the plastic one usually works. So, the key to taking out this valve stem, or core, if you will. Alright, hopefully this new one will work. I don't know. Maybe I'll put that in there and just make sure, because they are a little bit different. It might not fit in this other one. If that's the case, I'm going to have to get a whole new valve body in general. Let's see how this goes in. And to put it in, you just re-screw it in. It has really, really tiny threads on the side of that grip it, and it screws right back in there. So that went in fine. I don't know whether that's going to hold or not. Let's put some air in it and see what happens. But I want to see if this is going to stay and if it's going to... It sure seems like it's working. I can't tell if anything's coming back out. It's going through one way and it seems like it's sticking back up, so I guess we'll give it a shot. Hopefully it works. Yeah, okay. So by taking out this valve core, what we're able to do is we're able to get air into that hole at a much higher velocity, which is really what you need to try to seat the beads. I don't know, I never have much luck seating these beads anyway. I have a special little trick for that. You're going to have to stick around and watch. Very dangerous, but it does work, and you just have to be really careful. I'll try to show you some tricks to keep you safe. Needless to say, we have the valve core out. We're ready to start putting this tire on. So we're going to go from this side, get it into this groove, push it down, and then get the next groove on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some super valuable soap at the moment. And I'm going to put a little bit on the edge of this rim. I'm like getting low on this bottle here. But this will help the rubber slide right over on it. And you want to be careful what you use. You don't want to use like WD-40 or oil if you can avoid that. Because it will eat at the rubber and cause it not to seat so well. So that little bit should just help this slide. And what we'll do is we'll add some more to the tire wherever it's really necessary. Being that I'm going to start on this side, pull this over and have the valve stem be the last part, because you really don't want to have to fight against this little bit of restriction on the back of the valve stem. So with that said, we'll put some soap on this. Boy, I wish I had a bigger bottle here. You don't need much, you just need a little bit to help oil up this rubber. Now this is some older rubber, so it's going to take some extra stuff to really get this to move, usually. We'll probably coat everything so we just don't have that extra grit and resistance. And then once it seats, everything will be good. It'll blow that little bit of soap right out of there and you're fine. As opposed to having a little oil that's in there eating away at stuff. Alright. We're also going to need to put some oil on the other side of this in a minute. Or soap, I should say. So, let's try. We start in that big... Wow, that was some serious effort. Okay. That's a good sign. Down. Well, boy, that was awesome. I wonder how hard this is going to be to push this over. Let's do the same thing and put a little bit more soap. That kind of was almost scary. It was so easy. On the edge of this. Really, you kind of only need the soap at this point up here because everything else is already in the rim and you want it to slide right in here in this. So that's about it. It should go pretty well. Based on that last one, I don't even know if I need tools for it. Huh. You know what? Well, that might be the goddamn reason. Shoot. Alright, well, we're finally able to get back to putting our tire back together here. And what we had to do was the other tire we had was the wrong size for the rim that we have for the Backhoe, which was kind of disappointing. So what we decided to do is instead of spending $400 on a new tire, being that that tire is dry rotted on the side but has awesome tread, we decided to just get a tube. And we're going to stick a tube in there. What I did, let me see if I can find where it is here. Somewhere in here. Right there, you can see a patch. I put a patch on there and that may have held just fine. It held the air in there the way it is. I'm still going to put the tube in, but I figured by patching it, that'll keep the tube from sticking through the slit and possibly popping, which we don't want to have that happen again. So now we just got to turn around and get all this back together, and then that could be enough of a challenge. So we lay it out the way we know it's going to go. And have the rim down that way, and we're going to lube this up, back to a little soap, and stick it on there. Hopefully this will all go together pretty well. Alright, well our battery died before, but we managed to get the tire on, and we put the tube in. And the key when you put the tube in, you want to just stick it in there, start with the valve stem, and then you want to work it so the tube gets out of this main groove, because you're going to push this tire into that groove. And if it's in there, it can cut the tube on you. That's kind of the main trick to these things. And again, we're going to start at the bottom of this, away from the valve stem. Try to slide this sucker on there. It shouldn't be too bad. Depends how much this wants to hang up. Grab a couple fancy little tools here and just always watch you don't poke through very far, because that tube isn't too far down there. Kind of just want to catch the lip of this to pull it over. And the tire's going to drop down into that groove. I'm just going to work it around. I'm going to try to get this in there so I have it for later, because I'm not going to get it later. That much I kind of know. Alright. Slipping in. And just keep going a little bit at a time. Don't put it in too far. Just far enough. Let it slip right on down. And that looks pretty good here. And put your weight around the tire as you go. And just keep working it nice and slow. No rush. You rush things, you mess things up. Last thing you want to do is pop this tube. Starting all over again. A little bit at a time. Keep going. Now we'll get over here. Might be one of the last shots. Alright, I gotta get this out. Switch. Yep. There we go. She's in. Ta-da! All right, now that's on, that's in. all we're left to do is put a little air in this sucker and we're done. So hopefully this works. Let me grab the compressor. All right, one trick when doing this is you only want to put a little bit of air in this tube at a time. This way it can stretch and get itself around before you seat the bead on this. Because it might be folded, might be pinched. Almost give it a chance to really seat itself. Yeah, I hear it moving in there. Like I said, we want to be nice and easy with this balloon so it can roll itself around and seat itself exactly how the tube wants to. Because if it's all folded up and you fill it up, it's just going to create a pinch point. It's getting a little air to it. Now it's got some pressure. It's great when air's coming out of the valve stem. And just be careful when it starts to seat the bead, because it's going to pop and go boom. It's always a fun, scary part. It's a little easier doing it this way, because usually I end up having to use some straps. There we have it. All done and ready to go. Finally, back to use. So hopefully you learned something here, Mr. Barnes' Amazing World. Check out our other videos where we have one on busting nuts, where we show you how to take these nuts off. And these were some of the hardest nuts I've ever had to get off. Not very easy to get to, and they weren't removed for, you know, good 15, 20 years. So they were pretty well rusted and fastened on there. Other than that, I mean, we even have a showcase on this machine here. It's pretty darn awesome. So stick around, like and subscribe. Thank you.